My name's Andrew Stewart. I'm now PPC for Doncaster North for the Brexit Party. Brexit came along, and a number of years ago I started to talk to people about Brexit, and you hear all the scare stories, all the hyperbole, and you start to think, is this true? Is it correct? Are these the things that really are going to happen to this country? And you start to study and find out, and from that I brought some of my experience from my previous work in, and made more analysis, looked deeper into the actual reasoning behind Brexit to find out if we were going to have food shortages, if we couldn't get anything through Dover or Calais, if the education system was going to break down, if there was going to be World War III. And I found most of it to be nonsense. However, you can't dismiss all of it. There are things, environmental legislation, which has been strong from the EU, so I don't disagree with everything the EU does, but I was finding myself disagreeing more and more. I employed a number of Eastern European workers who were absolutely fantastic, great kitchen fitters, great builders, absolutely fantastic. But they started to tell me of a Europe I didn't recognise. Started to tell me about exploitation in Western Europe. And started to tell me, basically, I'm no different to them. And this concerned me. And it was only after a short while that I realised why. Because the site where they'd come from, they were being exploited and paid peanuts, really. And when I paid them, they weren't expecting as much as the other lads. And I just thought it was normal to pay them as much as everybody else because that's what they'd done. And then they went back to the other site, and I spoke to the other site manager, and he said, well, we had a big argument, and he said, well, why are you paying them that much? Now they're going to expect it from me. And I realised there was this kind of exploitation racket going on. A few other things, working for the Prince's Trust, working in education service at a school called Dagenham, and we had a lot of Eastern European kids coming in, and some of the parents were doctors and chemists and worked at Doncaster Royal Infirmary, and some of the parents were actually prostitutes. And I got talking to them and how the parents were into this, and it was a normal process. They talked about it, they normalised it, and I found that their parents were being exploited by people who were bringing them in. And I just felt it was all wrong. What was going on was wrong. I believe in what the Brexit Party stand for, and I believe in what democracy is. And if we're going to continue in the right vein in this country, we must adhere to that democracy, because the first time democracy is thwarted like this, it won't be the last. There'll be one after the other, after the other. I was brought up in a mixed race household. My granddad's black, my grandma's white. I was brought up with my grandma and granddad. My mother was 16 when she had me, and she was still a child herself. But, my grandma and granddad were very wise old souls. My granddad's my granddad's mum and dad were actual illegal slaves born in the United States. My granddad's dad was called John Major, after the person who actually owned him, effectively. Even though it was illegal, Philadelphia, and I think my granddad's mum came from Los Angeles. They performed on the stage, the money went to the person who owns them, and then they worked for their owner in other probably domestic areas. They got pregnant, which wasn't never going to be a good thing. So they stowed away on a ship and came to the UK and went to Berwick-on-Tweed. I've just got to say, my girlfriend's father were a real racist. Now that was a very interesting thing and a very interesting time, and the reason why me and my partner didn't get married is simply because it would have been the Battle of Santiago, I think, between the two families. So, but we're still together. But in terms of Brexit and how people refer to it, well, I checked out the Brexit Party thoroughly beforehand. I'd heard all the stories on the media, and I made sure that I wasn't supporting what they were describing as a racist party. I couldn't have had that. So I drove the Leave Means Leave walk from Sunderland down to London. I drove past it and had a look, just to have a look to see whether the people appeared to be, of the far right element. And I looked and they weren't. They just looked like normal people. But I then booked myself to go on the Leave Means Leave rally from Wadham to Worksop, the first walk that I was going to do. And I pulled up, walked down an alley, and there was a group of men with black combat trousers on, black beanie hats, black gloves, and I thought, it weren't even cold, and I thought, who are they? Are they the British National Party? Is that what they are? I can't be associated with that. I think I've done the wrong thing here. I thought, I'll just walk over there. I went over to the other side, and there were people with ivys on, and I thought, are they Gilets jaunes copying and wherever from France? And what have I got myself into? And then I saw a group of other people growing, and they were just normal-looking people to me. So I walked over and stood with them, and they were just talking about normal things. I thought, do you know, I'm going to have to get myself out of this. And then the bus pulls up, the Brexit bus. Richard Tice stands up and he said, I'd like to introduce you to Northumberland Police, all dressed in black, and our stewards with the IVs on. And I thought, well, you absolute fool, you've absolutely believed everything. You've hook, line and sinker what the media have said. And I thought, just let this be a lesson to me. And now we walked, and I talked to as many people as I could. And do you know what? Everybody was absolutely fine.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Fantastic. If you could have any 3 people, famous people, dead or alive, at a dinner party of yours, who would they be?
Oh, easy. Daley Thompson, my absolute athletic hero. Martin Luther King, a courageous man. And Gandhi, a gentle soul.
Who is your favourite politician ever?
My favourite, probably Dennis Skinner.
3 items to take with you on a desert island.
Oh, three items. A solar panel. A battery, and a radio. A 2-way radio.
Favourite colour?
Blue.
And what's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent?
Don't be shy.
Probably doing that with my eyebrows. Probably doing that with my eyebrows.